The end of the year reflection. 2022 has passed quickly. As we reflect on the past year, it was the even year when councils organize according to 8 PAC.S. 1001. The primary responsibility of council is to organize within the first 10 days of an even year. The mayor of any borough is to chair the first meeting to organize the elected councillors. At the first Monday of the January council meeting, there were only 2 elected councillors present, Councillor Andrew Scott Manges and Councillor Reverend Gerald William Spade, Sr. In the January 3, 2022 organization meeting, the first Monday in January, the mayor of Coalport told Councillor Spade he would need to resign his position as councillor. Councillor Spade thought, as explained to Vision Press production staff, if Councillor Spade had to resign as the mayor stated, then Councillor Spade must be a councillor. Councillor Spade contacted legal counsel. Legal counsel explained, until 10 individuals caused an action in the Honorable Court, Councillor Spade would be a councillor legally. So, Councillor Spade retained his elected position. Unlawfully, the mayor of Coalport Borough, not a judge, maliciously refused to permit Councillor Spade to hold the position of councillor, obstructing the will of the people of Coalport Borough. On January 10, 2022, Councillor Gerald William Spade, Sr., armed with his election certificate, affidavit of residency, and his certified oath of office for a councillor, went to the retired Glendale School District building at 961 Forest Street, Coalport Borough, Pennsylvania, to take his seat at the second organization meeting for Coalport Borough as instructed by the councillor's attorney. At approximately 6:40 p.m. on January 10, 2022, Councillor Gerald W. Spade, Sr. went to the borough building leased from the Glendale School District to set up cameras and prepare for the organization meeting advertised by the mayor. At the entrance door, he was at the same time of his arrival time, he encountered the Pseudo Secretary. Friendly words were expressed by Councillor Spade to the Pseudo Secretary, who voiced nothing. Both the Pseudo Secretary and Councillor Spade stood at the locked door side by side. The door combination was activated by the Pseudo Secretary and the door unlocked. As a gentleman, Councillor Spade opened the door, holding the door for the Pseudo Secretary to pass into the building. Upon passing the door threshold, the Pseudo Secretary turned around quickly to jerk the door out of the councillor's hand. The councillor held the door firmly to resist the jerking of the Pseudo Secretary's overt unlawful actions. Finally, the Pseudo Secretary turned and walked down the hall. The duly elected and duly certified councillor followed into the council chambers for the meeting at 7 p.m. for the purpose of setting up the video cameras for the organizational meeting. The video you are about to review is the start of the organizational meeting conducted in the Coalport Borough Council chambers. During the official organizational meeting, there was an intrusion of 3 professional Pennsylvania state policemen. Why were they present? While Councillor Spade was setting up 3 cameras to video the council meeting, the Pseudo Secretary was calling the Pennsylvania State Police. In the video you will observe what Councillor Manges, former Councillor President Joseph D. Nevling, and Roberto Nardelli witness as the Pennsylvania State Police called the Pseudo Secretary out of the meeting. Let us look at the video section of a larger video capture of the non-meeting of January 10, 2022, wherein the mayor maliciously obstructed the lawful right of Councillor Spade to duly hold his seat on the Coalport Borough Council. According to Councillor Spade's legal counsel, the mayor obstructed the lawful right of the councillor to be seated on Coalport Borough Council. According to 8PAC.S. 1004, it would take 10 electorate to file a petition in the Honorable Court to unseat Councillor Spade, not the mayor, expressed by councillor's legal counsel. The mayor was to organize the council. This was the mayor's duty and responsibility, which she was negligent in her official role according to Borough Code, 8PAC.S. 1001 and 1003. Only an honorable judge of the Court of Common Pleas could unseat Councillor Spade, until such time as the honorable judge would unseat Councillor Spade. Councillor Spade was a lawful duly certified councillor. Attorney Nelson had his opinion and Councillor Spade's legal counsel had his lawful opposing opinion. The mayor, Attorney Nelson, and attorney for Councillor Spade were not a judge. The only opinion valid was that of the Honorable Judge of the Court of Common Pleas. Until the Honorable Judge made his rule in April 2022, Councillor Spade was a lawful councillor, according to two professional attorneys. You must realize Attorney Daniel Nelson was the mayor's personal attorney as he sat at the council chambers table on January 10, 2022. At that time, Attorney Nelson was not the solicitor for Coalport Borough. Was his opinion the desire of the Pseudo Secretary and the mayor? Did Attorney Nelson defend the mayor's and the Pseudo Secretary's desires? Did Attorney Nelson prejudice the rights of Councillor Spade and violate attorney canons of law? Here is the video that actually happened that night of the 10th of January at 7 p.m. Extraneous features of the night's video are edited out to show the events relating to the false allegations of the Pseudo Secretary. The entire meeting will not be shown because lawfully the meeting was not legal pursuant to the unlawful actions of the mayor. The mayor refused to permit the legal counsellor Gerald W. Spade, Sr. to be seated in his lawful position on council. Without Councillor Gerald W. Spade, Sr. seated as he was lawful, there was not a quorum to hold a lawful meeting of the Coalport Borough Council. Attorney Nelson expressed his opinion which Councillor Spade had an objection. Remember, Attorney Nelson is and was the lawyer for the mayor. Everyone has the lawful right to an opinion. However, Attorney Nelson received payment for his opinion, $2,500, which caused the Coalport Borough 2022 budget to be breached. Only $2,000 was allocated for legal services in the budget for 2022. Refusing to permit Councillor Spade to be seated cost the borough taxpayers $2,500, which the mayor requested the new council to pay, and they did. Now the video.
Do you have to have the minutes from the meeting of December?
No, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Oh,
because,
okay.
I mean, you said none, but theoretically,
There is.
the last
minutes,
meeting
notes.
minutes you have would be from December, right? The last time you had a quorum.
No, that was January the 3rd we had notes.
Notes and notes,
Then
but
Paul was
probably,
still here in December.
but probably not minutes. Hi, gentlemen.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Do you need to talk to me? I'm Mary Sue.
You want to call?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah,
You're in trouble.
yeah, you're in big trouble.
Uh-oh. What's when I spoke dinner?
So that's where I feel we're gonna run into an issue.
Okay.
How do we conduct business without a quorum?
Yeah, we're not.
Can I get your signature here?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'd hang tight.
Yeah, just hang in there. I was watching the weather there before we came.
You guys are getting snow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
and not only that, but it's supposed to get down the wind chill factors down to the minuses.
Yes.
Holy mackerel.
Turn the thermostat up.
What'd you say?
Just turn the thermostat up.
Yeah. They like that, don't
It's
they?
like an oil tank running into the furnace.
Kind of like was that.
I got cold too. I just tired of going out every few hours. Throw cold away and take an acid out. Throw cold away and take. Yeah. I'm too old for that anymore.
You still have cold?
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you?
I don't. I haven't used
I
it.
like cold heat.
Oh, I do too.
I love it.
I do too. But just going up and down
It's too much work.
yeah.
When I can walk over and turn the thermostat.
Exactly. And the price of coal today, not much different than the price of fuel. You spend
that's
about the
true.
same amount for each
Yeah,
for the winter.
That's true. Very true.
I use it in case the power goes out more than a day.
Now, I don't know what I'm sitting here for. I have a resignation to read. Andy, you're the timekeeper. Yep, your clock's up there. You're the timekeeper.
Okay, what am I keeping time for?
7 o'clock we start.
All right.
It's after 7.
You're the chair. That clock is not correct.
Oh, isn't
Okay,
it?
mine says 7:03. You're
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's entirely up to you.
Okay, the meeting will now come to order. Please stand. Moment of silence. And then, gentlemen, take your caps off. I
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any of the guests have anything to say? I'll recognize you now, guests and visitors.
I'd like to know why the other two council members ain't here when their term's not up yet.
Which two?
Yiglis?
No, it stopped there at the end of December. It did.
I thought they had another year or so ago.
No, it stopped at the end of December. They were very lucky. They're stopped December 31st.
Their term stopped or they stopped?
The term stopped. Yeah, the term stopped. All right, the correspondence that I
Can I say
have.
something before?
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, you know, I always have a speech.
Okay, go ahead,
It's
Joe.
not a good one, but a speech. From 2018 to 2021, council has proved to be nothing more than a three-ring personality contest.
Amen.
And that's handed, and that has almost destroyed the borough. And they handed that over to you three people here right now. I
Okay,
don't know whether you can pick the pieces up or not.
we're going
It's
to.
in a disarray.
We're going to, Joe. You know that.
Okay, and I'm sure that you're all aware the Coalport Borough government has been completely non-functional since January the 1st. And that's sad and that's embarrassing.
Yes.
Very much so.
Okay.
That's all right. And what did you say, 3-ring personality? Is that what did you call that, a 3-ring personality?
The 3-ring personality contest, it seemed like personalities couldn't get together. And that's not what
You're right.
council is. It's one unit and not a unit of everybody with an eye disease.
Right.
My opinion.
The Honorable Joseph D. Nebling was president of council for 28 years.
That's the gentleman talking. Okay.
I was on council, but I was president for 19.
19. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Thank you.
Keep the record straight.
He's always trying to give us all a few extra years.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Bad enough what we have, huh? All right, we don't need a roll call on this.
Point of order. It has to be accepted by Borough Council.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I don't think I'm going to go any further with this because as I look around here, we do not have a quorum. Sherry?
You're not accepting my petition, my qualification.
This is what I'll take them.
I emailed it to you.
Do you have any with you?
Yeah, I have the whole thing right here.
Okay.
Union. Sure.
If we can interrupt your meeting for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Can we talk to you for a second, Mr. Spade?
Yes, you may.
Sorry about this.
Yes, but who was it? You're related to him.
Who is it?
That is my
Trooper
evidence.
Peacock, you know
Trooper
Trooper
Peacock?
Oh, yeah. You didn't bring me that big dog. Well, you told me last time you were coming to Coalport, you bring me that big dog because that was robbed twice.
Oh, yeah. That was like,
Well, that's no fun.
that was like right 14 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Since then I got a good alarm system for it.
that's good.
A very good one. So, okay, which?
Matt,
Okay, and
Sonny.
I was gonna say, yeah, your dad, your grandpa went well. That was a generation I was.
Yep.
And who were you married to?
You completed that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire a representative.
She will grill you.
I'm married to a Gladfelder from up the
Oh,
side.
no, because one of the boys is married to, she's a teacher at Clearfield Schools.
Jenny?
Jenny,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's my older brother's wife.
Oh, okay, I knew that there was one of the boys. Okay.
Well, he won't be long, but
Okay.
I don't know, we've talked to her a little bit. I don't know if you have to set some kind of rule about showing up too early or something for these meetings.
Are you satisfied with what they said? You know, with,
And make that kind of off limits to civilians, this part, so that they just can't, they keep them in that door, right? But this is a public building, I'm not sure what we can really do to
you
him,
don't come
you
in
know?
that building.
What's
You
that?
don't come in that door.
I know, I don't know what you mean.
What door did you come in?
That door. So yeah, I don't know, there's not too much that we can really do other than maybe ask them not to show up so early for meetings.
Okay.
Make a resolution.
Or you guys can get something in
You can't.
stone or
Yeah,
something.
okay, resolution.
But no, I mean, that's normally what you would expect if you're going to take certain parts of the building and make them off limits to the public. Because here's the other issue, that's the secretary's office. So there are reasons why the public need to reach the borough secretary. Most of the time they're there for applications and permits, taking payments, all the other things that boroughs normally transact. That clearly is a permissible reason for anybody to walk in the secretary's office. So you have to know when you can and when you can't. Your concern is he's trying to get records.
I know what he's trying to do. My concern all this time has been that he comes in and films it before the 7 o'clock meeting.
Yeah,
whatever.
We can ask him,
Is this open to the
not to
public
come
here?
too early, but there's not much
there you
we're gonna
go.
be able to do, unless he's
Yeah, it's
like
gonna be
causing
difficult.
major
I
problems
think that
down
the
here.
council may adopt certain reasonable measures
Nice to see you again.
as to how it may be done under what circumstances, but it really does need to be in writing before it.
Well, when he views them, he puts remarks on there about
I understand that.
everybody too. So,
I mean,
the bird don't have a chance to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Be safe
Thank
out
you.
there. The issue is, we're clearly not, nor could any governmental body impact anyone posting or commenting. I mean, that is a clear exercise of speech. I may not like it. I may find it repugnant. It might become slanderous. You might have something in that point where he would say something about, say, the Coalport Borough solicitor, I don't know, having an illicit affair with all these borough residents. I mean, that's actionable because that impugns my personal integrity.
Yeah.
But if it's commentary about what you do at this table, I don't like the budget. You're not paving the streets. You really ought to have a dog ordinance.
No,
Yeah,
calling people names, but like you said, if they can call you anything they want, you're in
They
a public
really
position.
can.
And
Yeah, they really can.
And they do.
It's mean.
I just didn't appreciate
It's probably untoward. I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend any normal. Sorry,
pulling the door out of my
that is
hands
not
like that.
appropriate conduct. We should all be more civilized,
You
right?
just don't like each other, do you? Spit it out.
No, I don't.
There you go. That's what I kind of figured.
I don't like what he does. Let me differentiate that. I don't like what he does.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I spent 2 hours of my time today. I don't get paid, so I can't say it was, something. I spent 2 hours up here. I was here all day doing shit because, stuff I had to take care of. 2 hours that I could have been doing other stuff. And it's like that constantly. The one right to know he asked for 3 things. Number 2, if I would have researched it and done it properly, it would have taken me a minimum of 2 hours. A minimum to even get that written up. So,
It was just the last straw, wasn't it?
yeah, when he grabbed the door like that and wouldn't let me close it, that made me mad. Now I've had it.
Come in here as a team, but
Well, you read the thing, so you're finding what happens when people try to work as a team and someone won't let them.
we'll see.
I did not.
I think we can be
I did not.
a team here.
A person asked, in the December 5th council meeting, when there was discussion regarding a tax collector room, the tax officer stated he would have cameras recording activities in the room 24/7. Why? Vision Press Production believes the video of January 10th is self-evident for a reason for cameras to prevent false charges, in the future, of false allegations of the pseudo secretary as she did on January 10th. The tax officer told Vision Press Production in his opinion, anyone going near the pseudo secretary should hold an audio recorder device in front of themselves for prevention of false claims of the pseudo secretary, in my opinion, said the tax officer. The actions of the pseudo secretary were reprehensible and deplorable and without any lawful foundation. The pseudo secretary was trying to keep a councillor from entering a public building that was under the councillor's legal responsibility as a lawful councillor. As Councillor Spade stated in the meeting, the pseudo secretary should be dismissed due to her malicious actions. Councillor Spade had every right to enter a public building as expressed by the 3 Pennsylvania State Police troopers with integrity. 3 of Pennsylvania's finest. Cameras will be in the tax collector's office if the Borough Council ever provides a lockable secure room for the tax officer. Thank you for viewing the review video for January 10th. 2022 at 7 p.m. Wherefore, the mayor maliciously obstructed the required organizational meeting. The mayor's role and duty was to organize council, not to judge whether or not a councillor was a councillor. Councillor Gerald William Spade, Sr. had all the lawful credentials to be a seated councillor. If Councillor Spade would have been seated and council was organized, there would have been a savings of $2,500. Additionally, the pseudo secretary would have been dismissed lawfully. Was the intent of the mayor to prevent the conjoined pseudo secretary from being dismissed? Council would have moved forward with actions for the good of the borough. Due to malicious actions of the mayor, Margaret Madalena, in the opinion of Councillor Spade, the borough of Coalport was denied a local government for over 4 months and a loss of $2,500 for a malicious opinion of a mayor that was questioned by 2 professional attorneys at law. One of the councillor's attorneys was a doctor of law. Look at the local government we have today in Coalport Borough. Do the taxpayers and electorate have a president of council? How many meetings has the president of council missed? Is it time for one of the councillors to motion for a new president? A president serves at the pleasure of council. Do we have a local government of professional councillors, or in the alternative, do we have the mayor and the pseudo secretary followed by 5 sheep doing the will of the 2 non-councillors? A mayor has no power, as Attorney Nelson stated in the January 3 meeting. The pseudo secretary is not part of council and is an employee, who should do nothing unless she is told to do specific tasks. In the January 10 non-meeting, the pseudo secretary admitted she, as AORO for the borough, knew what documents Councillor Spade wanted and if she would do the discovery of the documents or records under the Right to Know law, RTKL, request, it would take 2 hours. Was the pseudo secretary negligent in doing her job as the agency's open records officer, AORO? It appears the pseudo secretary has been willfully defiant of doing her job under the law regarding the Right to Know law. The pseudo secretary is an employee. The chief task of a secretary is to compose minutes of a meeting and to record documents into books of record, in the opinion of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Borough Code Title 8. Remember this one fact: the Borough Code is enforced by the people. If the people will not demand compliance to 8pa.c.s. etc., then the town is doomed to failure. You have 2 tax evaders as councillors, because of your mayor, who are spending your taxpayer money while they are not paying taxes this year, last year, and for 10 years in the past. Think about it when they make motions to spend your tax monies. The tax evaders maliciously tried to obstruct Councillor Andrew Scott Mange's work on grants. While they sat complaining of all the hours they had to do at night for the borough. Councillor Manges does not complain, he does the work. Thank you for watching the January 10 Coalport Borough non-organizational meeting. Vision Press Production reserves the lawful right to revise, extend, and to add extraneous things in this foregoing review of an incident at the Glendale School District's leased building at 961 Forest Street, Coalport, Pennsylvania 16627. Vision Press Production is a citizen advocate for all taxpayers in the borough of Coalport. ARTKL request was made to the Pennsylvania State Police AORO. No response has been granted by the AORO for the Pennsylvania State Police at this time regarding the incident of January 10, 2022. Respectfully submitted. Vision Press Production. Other video presentations are found at http://www.wkeys.com, then click on the words Coalport Borough Council Meeting Videos. Thank you.